I
a
love
real good buddy of mine that lived by me here, and he went to Vietnam but did not return. Well, he did, but he was in a casket.
So his name is etched on the war memorial.
And I want to try to find it.
Hello and welcome back to The Perch from the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle. I'm Noah Zahn, your local government reporter here. This week on The Perch, we're sharing a conversation that our reporter Taylor Staples had with Billy Fiorelli and his husband Paul. Billy Fiorelli served in the United States Navy from 1968 to 1969 during the Vietnam War era. He served in Jacksonville, Florida, and wanted to be deployed to Vietnam and make a career out of his life in the Navy before he was medically discharged from the military. In the nearly 60 years since, Billy has made a living working in the medical field in different parts of the country, and in recent years, he has battled and beaten cancer several times. Next week, Billy will be going to visit Washington, D.C. for the first time in his life, something he said he's only ever seen on TV before. He and his husband Paul are going after Billy was selected as one of 16 Wyoming Vietnam era veterans to take an all-expenses-paid trip to the nation's capital for 4 days. He was one of 4 veterans from Cheyenne selected for the program, which is run by Wish of a Lifetime, a charitable affiliate of AARP, as part of AARP's Voyage of Valor, which takes American veterans on trips to D.C. Billy and Paul spoke with Taylor Staples about the preparation for their trip and heard more about Billy's story serving in the military. Billy said it was important for him to make this trip now because when he gets home, he'll begin chemotherapy treatments to combat stage 3 cancer after doctors found tumors on his aorta and lymph nodes. Here's a part of that conversation that Taylor had with Billy and Paul.
So, have you ever been to D.C. before and visited any of the memorials that you guys are going to see?
No. The only way I've seen it is TV.
TV, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Do you know how you got nominated? Do they do their research or did they tell you?
They do a big background check.
Right.
Make sure
I
everything
did the
is...
nomination through the nomination letter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was nominate your veteran, to go, or if the veteran wanted to nominate themselves,
Okay.
they could also do that.
Okay, that's awesome.
I wanted to make it my career, but
Yes.
short-lived.
Yeah.
But
Due to an
at least I
injury.
got to go in for at least a year.
A year, yeah.
I served my country.
Right.
More
Well-
ways than one.
I love that. Can you tell me a little bit more about that year that you served and
Jackson.
I
in Jackson.
started out in Great Lakes, Illinois, which is the boot camp, and I wanted to go in the medical field, become a corpsman, so they had corps school right there, and I went to corps school, then I got to pick what station I wanted to go to.
Yeah. And you chose
I could go to San Diego or Jacksonville, Florida. I've been to California and seen the ocean, swam in it, and I wanted the other coast.
Yeah, I love that though. But yeah, what did you do in Jacksonville? Kind of what was that year like?
They based us on scores that we had in corps school. You scored a certain amount, great. And I'm sorry,
Stationed in Jacksonville.
Yes.
Yeah, I picked Jacksonville. Just
Yeah.
and my scores were good. I was on the honor roll. You guys even did a story on me there.
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But it was great. And I got to the hospital, and they said, due to your scores, you get the best position. And it was a psych ward. Some people, well, that's punishment. Oh, no. Wrong. It was great meeting these people. They didn't get shot. They were just...
Hearing their stories too. I'm
Yeah.
sure was very
And it was just,
emotional.
whoa. But to get them going, getting them out of the psych ward was my duty.
Yeah, you were
That's my
helping.
personal duty. I want to get them healthy.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. His father was in the Army and was stationed in Anchorage, Alaska when they were bringing the atomic bomb to bomb
Whoa.
Hiroshima. And they had to go out on the tarmac and they had to clean every piece of dirt. You couldn't even have a grain of dirt on the airline
Wow.
because they were afraid of the vibrations or bouncing. And then they had like kind of a pit alongside of the runway, so they were able to watch the plane actually come in with the atomic bomb.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Then he saw it take off
Right.
to the final destination.
Wow.
Right, and his
Hiroshima. Here we come.
That's crazy.
right, so his father was in the army, and then his oldest brother John Farrelly, he was in the army also,
Army.
right? And then you were in the Navy, and his younger brother was in the Army still? Joe,
Well, he later went, the Army.
Army and then the Wyoming National
So your
Guard.
whole family kind of was in a branch
Yes.
at some point.
Two
Oh,
of my brothers was Army. I was Navy.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dad said, why don't you go in the Army? You got drafted, go. And I, well, Army doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. The Navy.
And and so I went to the Navy recruiter and told him about, well, I got drafted. Can
Yeah.
I enlist with the Navy and bypass that?
Yeah.
He said, yes, I'll take care of
That's
everything
awesome.
right now.
But you also had an interest. I feel like that's more of a niche interest too, like wanting to work in the medical field too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So I
Had
feel
you-
like there's always
I've
a
been-
need for that. Yeah.
I was a student trainer, athletic trainer in high school. And then I earned a scholarship to University of Wyoming for 2 years.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I took all the medical stuff for athletic trainer because I was wanted in that position. But then that's when the draft notice came out because when you don't register to school, they grab you fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they try to. Yeah. Oh gosh.
And I didn't feel like driving up to Canada.
That's so fair.
Yes. So had you worked at the hospital at this point prior to?
And I worked in a hospital as an orderly.
Okay.
Oh, prior to your experience in the Navy?
Yeah.
Cheyenne?
No, after.
Billy?
Oh.
Cheyenne, right?
Yes.
Yeah, after. See, I wasn't sure whether it was after or before.
Okay, that's fair.
But
That's fair.
afterwards-
That's
Yeah.
why I've got him to help me.
Oh.
My mind just goes, spaces
Totally.
out. Yeah.
No, I love that. No, I love that you both are here. It's awesome.
Thank you.
But yes, so back to the psych ward
Mm-hmm.
that you were working at. So you worked there for the full year, right? You were
Yeah, except for boot camp and core school.
except for boot camp, of course.
And then that was my only station.
okay.
And that's where I got discharged.
Due to an injury.
Okay, due to an injury.
Right, so he's a DAV, disabled.
I have service-connected disability of 10%.
Okay.
And
Did that
lost-
happen? How did that happen?
Well, you want me to
It
tell
was-
her? Or-
Mumps? Yeah.
Yeah, he contracted mumps in Florida, and unfortunately, when you get the mumps and you're an adult, it has the possibility of going down to your groin area,
Yeah.
and he ended up losing a reproductive organ.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
Hey, anything for my country. At least I can say I served.
Yeah. And
Right,
you're okay
yeah.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But the only bad thing is in boot camp, you have a break-in bed, so there's a room everybody goes to.
Yeah.
You shine your shoes or whatever. Well, it was also a smoking room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't smoke. Come on, Bill. You got to be a man. Come on, smoke. Well, that's where I learned to smoke.
Was in the smoking room? Yeah. Yeah.
And I smoked ever since until 98, and I quit.
1998, right?
1998.
Good. Good.
Yes.
The year my dad died.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has had a lot of cancer. He's had not testicular, he's had
Prostate.
prostate cancer, and then he's had lung cancer on the right side.
Right side.
And then
That was
Small cell.
small cell lung cancer.
Gosh.
Got rid of that. Killed that. Killed the prostate. I mean, both survivors of two cancers.
Oh my
Then
God.
they developed another one right by my aorta. They thought it was attached to it. So none of the doctors here in Cheyenne would even touch it.
Oh wow.
X-ray, nothing. They said no.
So he had to go down to Medical Center of the Rockies where they did special imaging, and they actually were able to determine that the tumor was in fact separated, so it wasn't actually
Okay.
encroaching
He showed
on
me
the
the
aorta.
films and I said, oh. And he says, look at that. And I said, well, there's a space there. That's what we want.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then now he had 2 cancers in his left lobe, and we got
That's
those
the
with
ones.
radiation and chemo, and then now he has tumors growing, one on the aorta, and it spread to his lymph nodes. So
Yeah.
It went from stage 1 to stage 3 immediately.
right. He was on a drug called Tecentriq, which is $100,000 every 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was on that for 12 weeks, and
Getting,
they just found out that it wasn't working, wasn't killing the cancer. It was
they're
still
getting
growing.
larger. So
So now they've
We're
taken
doing the
him off
last
of the
resort.
palliative care and giving him the chemotherapy. But our oncologist, Dr. Battazzini, fantastic doctor. If you ever have any cancer issues,
or anybody that you know.
the
Good to
Cancer
know.
Center here
Cancer
in
Center right
Wyoming
by the hospital.
is fantastic.
Good to know.
And so now he will be, actually, the Monday after we get back from the trip, he will be starting chemo.
Oh,
They wanted
okay.
to do it before.
So he
And
is terminal.
No, you know. And she says, oh, that wouldn't be good, would it, on your trip and you're puking all the time? No, I mean,
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
But no, I'm happy that that's happening after the trip, and you'll get to experience that.
but in a way, I blame the Navy for my lung cancers. A
Big
big
contributor.
contributor
Yeah.
towards it. Not that I can say it's Navy's fault, but
Yeah.
The
Because
smoking
of the
did it.
smoking. Yeah.
And it was promoted. I mean, when they gave the military free
Totally.
cigarettes,
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
it was the thing to do.
and then
Yeah.
they said, we have to make money on this cigarette, so we're going to charge you 10 cents a pack. We thought that was outrageous.
Yeah. At the time, oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
$1 per pack of, a carton of cigarettes. I just,
Yeah.
gee, now, 15, 20, whatever it is, I don't know.
Oh, I think it's closer to 40 now
Is
for a
it?
carton of cigarettes. I don't know. Anyways,
Anyway,
when you were in Jackson, stationed, and you were working up on the psych ward, what was your most rewarding experience?
this one gentleman, I mean, he burst into tears and then grabbed pencils and just break them. Little bitty things like that, and he snapped.
Oh.
Hello. And I got him as a personal
Okay.
sponsor, I worked with him. He quit doing the pencils. He stopped taking the sleeping pill at night that knocks him on the teaser for
Really
sure.
knocks him out.
Yeah.
But we talked and talked. Nothing about it, just let him talk. That's all he wanted.
Yeah. Just somebody to
Nobody
listen.
would listen to me,
Yeah.
that I need help.
Right, I think that's what the veterans, Vietnam War era veterans, really
It was just
were
hard on him.
so disappointed, and it was so hard coming back to the States
Yeah.
because there was no honor, there was no celebration. When he was discharged, they says don't wear any uniform or anything
I
in
remember
route
that.
because
Well, because that was the next thing I was kind of going to ask was post-discharge, like how that reception was, because of, I know the stigma of Vietnam War veterans just were disrespected after they got
Oh,
back. So,
jeez. Like, hey, Vietnam veteran. And then the words that come out of their mouth, excuse me for doing my duty as an American.
yeah.
right, serve in my country. Right. So I think this will give you a lot of closure going to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I
A
love
real good buddy of mine that lived by me here,
Mm-hmm.
and he went to Vietnam but did not return.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did, but he was in a casket.
Mm-hmm.
So his name is etched on the war memorial.
And I want to try to find it.
Good. Oh, that's good.
We have one guy that I was mentioning that, and he goes, "I can help you on that." And you can find the name.
Right, because
Instead of having to go through.
they have it all on computer where they can punch it in and it'll tell them you're on section ABC or whatever. And
That's my biggest thrill, is going to see him.
That's awesome.
Or his name.
Yeah. No, that really is going to be full circle. Yeah, the closure is going to be awesome. That's why they do these, I think, in the first place, which I think is awesome. So,
it is.
yeah.
And then seeing all these people that are veterans that are going, and they're my age. I thought I was the oldest guy.
Right. Exactly.
But they're all over 77. 77 or older.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yes, so the post-war transition,
Right.
how was that? And then when did you guys meet after that?
That was in what year?
I came in being discharged, then
69.
being discharged. I had to turn in everything. And I had my uniform on. He said, "Why do you have that on?" That's the only clothes I have. Because he didn't want me to take it.
Yeah.
But I got my uniform.
So,
Tried to put it on and no.
Yeah.
oh, just recently, yes.
Yeah, it's too small.
yes.
Oh
yes.
gosh.
And I fit in this.
Right. Was I ever that small?
But now it's like a souvenir you get to keep. So
So, and
Excuse me.
from your discharge, you went to work at
After the discharge, went down to the unemployment office to if they could set me up with a job. I have nothing in medical for you. And okay, anything else? I don't care. All you went in for is medical. We don't have that, so you're on your own.
yeah.
Thanks. Well, you know. But then hospital. So I went there and worked for 6 years, I think.
6 years.
That's awesome.
From 69 to
69 to
75.
74.
70. Okay.
Were you working in kind of the mental health side of things like you kind of were in the Navy or
No,
just a regular hospital?
I was just a regular hospital. And first he was just changing beds and taking care of the patients. Okay.
Yeah.
Then they said, "Wait a minute, you're in the Navy as a corpsman." I said, "Yeah." "You know how to do blood pressure?" "Yeah." "You know how to draw blood?" "Yes." "I know how to give shots?" "Yes."
Yeah.
So they trained me for all that. And you ready for my wage? $1 an hour.
That's crazy.
The hospital gave every anniversary, you got a nice raise of a nickel.
You're serious.
See, that back time, yeah.
Oh my god.
And the maximum you can get is 5 years. After that, you don't get
Maxed
anything.
out. So,
I worked it there and got it out. A job opening came in, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
didn't you go to the ambulance service first?
That was after
After the
the
hospital.
hospital.
But before Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yes,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
So then he,
With the ambulance service and that, and I saw the ad for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Big Shot, he was a assistant assistant vice president, and he interviewed. He said, "You're a corpsman.
Yeah.
You know medical." "Yeah."
Yeah.
So he showed me what I'd be doing. Okay, that's no problem. Set that all up.
so you worked here for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Since 75 to 83.
Yeah.
8 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 more years and I would have been set.
Yeah.
Retire and
But I'm happy you were able to find that after the Navy and yeah.
So then the
and then
rest of his
83,
life.
that's when we left Cheyenne. They had to go to California.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the way we met was a good friend and a friend in the Air Force.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Paul went,
He
came
was
along.
he was living in Salt Lake City and was moving back to Cheyenne, getting ready to re-enlist in the Air Force.
Oh.
And so I came up with him to help him move and unload, and then
Yeah.
I was gonna fly back to Salt Lake, and needless to say, that changed. And we've been together ever since 1980. And Billy's always been in the medical field. He spent the last
and then from 92 to 2016 when I retired,
Yeah.
or 2017 January.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that's
But
awesome.
he worked for a company called
And then
what is it now? American Home Patient.
well, it's New Motion
Right,
right
New
now.
Motion.
It used to be
Oh.
American Home Patient.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
he coordinated with wheelchairs and getting wheelchairs for people and funding and Muscular Dystrophy Association.
Oh.
And,
I got several gifts from them because I worked with them.
right. So he was a funding specialist to make it happen. I know he talks a lot about Christopher Reeves,
Okay.
Oh.
Superman.
Yes. Yeah.
That beautiful wheelchair that he had at the end. And it was called a sip and puff.
Yeah.
Put his jaw, okay,
Yes.
and he
Yeah.
drove the chair that way. Well,
Oh.
that chair, we furnished. Well, I mean, we built it for him.
What? Oh my God.
That's, I used to work at a manufacturer
Okay.
in California. And no, we're not going to move that big meeting. No, the rumors are bad. Week later, Billy, would you like to move to St. Louis? I don't know. So they sent me out for a week to look at and check it out. Went to the office there.
Yeah.
People, answer my question here. Answer my question there. Sure. And they, wow.
Yeah.
So
That is so awesome.
So what was the cost of the wheelchair for Christopher Reeves?
Oh, the charity that bought it, of course, would give a big discount. But that still ended up with $75,000 for that chair.
Holy crud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had to have special cushions,
Yeah.
special headrest for the sip and puff and all that.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. That's so cool.
Scotty on Star Trek,
Yeah.
we did a scooter for him. We delivered a scooter.
That's
So-
crazy. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The company I had was pretty good.
Yeah. Was that in between medical jobs or when did you do
That's
that?
my last job.
That was your last job.
That-
That was
retired from there.
from 92 to 2016.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But while we were in California, I was a store manager for a store similar to like a Target. And I was actually a specialist. Would go into problem stores and take charge and fire people and clean it up and
He was
give people.
manager.
Yeah.
And he'd
Yeah.
go in and clean the house.
So we were all over Southern California, Palm Springs, Camarillo, San Diego, Los Angeles. Yeah,
You
so
guys have been everywhere.
it has been,
Yeah.
but we haven't been to Washington and
D.C.
always wanted to
We've
go.
always
This is
wanted
gonna
to
be
go.
awesome.
Yes.
And it's
I'd
the whole
love to
other
see-
side of the coast.
And
too,
we were
so-
supposed to see the president. They scheduled that, but he canceled.
Well,
What?
It was canceled.
well,
I
there-
didn't know that.
that's what the rumor was, and then we got a text message and a phone call from Morgan, who
Recently?
was our representative with Wish of a Lifetime.
Okay.
And this was like 2 months ago, so relatively quick, especially for this big of a plan out front, and we had to fill out forms for background checks and everything for Washington,
Yeah,
the White
totally.
House. And they had to do background checks on us, and then evidently there's a scheduling conflict. But they're still kind of up in the air of
If that's going to happen
maybe it's
at
going to
all.
happen at all, right?
Okay.
But they really don't have 100% faith in it
Okay.
that that'll happen. But just
Yeah,
being able
'cause-
to see the White House and
Yeah, it's going to be
the
surreal.
Lincoln Memorial and
Capitol building, but the pool,
a reflecting
the
pool.
reflecting pool.
Yeah. And the
And the
people you were
Marines.
treating were in Vietnam, right? And then they had to
Yes,
get
yes.
flown back.
They were Marines.
Was it a lot of patients with PTSD? Like, what were most of the cases that would come to you?
Mostly PSG.
Mostly PTSD?
PTSD.
Yeah.
But I don't think they even called it that. They didn't even know that.
They
Yeah,
didn't know
that's
they didn't-
true.
back
That's
then.
still a newer,
Right.
relatively newer terminology.
You
Yeah.
need the psych ward.
Yeah.
Right.
And I loved it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Well, it's such an underrated part. Like, even nowadays, like, mental health is so important.
Oh,
So-
definitely.
And it's always has been. So I love that they had that back
Mm-hmm.
then, even if they didn't fully understand, like, this is PTSD, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's awesome.
It is.
But yes.
Then we had another one that he came back home from Vietnam for about a week, I think it was. And he just lost it.
Yeah.
His girlfriend was at the airport to greet him with a Dear John letter.
Oh, no.
He could not handle that at all. And that's another one I got.
Oh, that's so hard.
There's always 2 corpsmen on the floor, and it's locked.
Oh my gosh.
Most of the time I had the key.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But when you hear the door opening, you know it's a supervisor.
Yeah.
She doesn't buzz in and say, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how you
No.
know. Yeah, that had to have been so intense at times. Yeah. But it's good
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what really stands out with me is when we have to transport him someplace else. And the doctor states what class he's in. We have to put him in a stretcher, and according to the doctor's notes, what he wants, you strap him in.
Okay.
He was strapped in the legs, by
Soft restraints.
right about the ankles, mid thigh, mid calf. I mean, here. I mean,
Yeah.
not even the head. I had to tape that down, and I'm sorry, you know.
You know,
Yeah.
isn't that something, to think of it back then, and you worked on these people, what is their life like now?
Yeah.
Were they able
I
to
hope-
overcome the PTSD?
I heard from the one, my first patient, should I say, and the vet that he sent me a big letter, and I showed everybody. I said, now that is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he says, everything is great. I had to go to court to prove that I was in the Navy, Marines.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
had to prove that I had to go in.
DD 214.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Very full circle.
I know I did just,
Yeah.
it still sends up tears of my,
That's awesome.
Exactly. Oh, and then another cancer he had is he just had
that one.
skin cancer removed.
Oh gosh.
Up there.
So-
He has the cancer gene in his family.
Okay. Well, at least it was removed
Yes.
too. That's good.
I
But
cured that one, cured this one, cured that one, cured the
Prostate.
prostate, and that's
Holy
enough.
But
Yeah.
these,
But see, they didn't want to do the chemo right away.
yeah.
Because she says,
the doctor was afraid if doing chemo would kill him because he was not as healthy as he is now.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we tried the palliative care, which, is basically you're terminal and they're just
Yeah.
making you comfortable.
Give
But
me a good quality
unfortunately,
of
that
life.
didn't work.
But it didn't work.
So
Okay.
now we're going to the chemo as the last resort.
Okay.
So we have good faith in her, and
Oh, that doctor is fantastic.
he's in
Yeah.
a much better position now to go through the chemo.
Good. Good. And you'll have the experience of a lifetime before then.
Yes.
Oh, this is what I've been waiting all ever since '69.
That was our arts and entertainment reporter in conversation with U.S. Navy veteran Billy Fiorelli and his husband, Paul. And with Taylor out sick again this week, I'll be bringing you a roundup of some of the upcoming events in the area this week. So to start off today, May 2nd, Friday, kicks off the Great Western Alpaca Show at the Event Center. The show will last until Sunday and go from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then at night, the Cheyenne Little Theater Players have their opening night of Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express at 7:30 p.m. The show plays tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. On Saturday, May 3rd, the Cheyenne Depot will hold the weekly farmers market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and the Wyoming State Museum will host their monthly Family Day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This month's theme is military appreciation. Also on Saturday are 2 Cinco de Mayo celebrations. One is at the Frontier Mall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and No Drinko Cinco de Mayo is from 2 to 4 p.m. at the David R. Romero Youth Activity Center. On Sunday, May 4th, the All-City Children's Chorus has their last concert of the year at 4 p.m. at the Cheyenne Civic Center. Also, the Laramie County Community College has their Party Time music program at 7 p.m. in the Surbug Prentice Auditorium. Then on Monday, May 5th, the Laramie County Retired Education Personnel has their weekly program at Red Lion Hotel starting at 11:45 a.m., and the Lincoln is hosting a concert with the band I Hate God at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, May 6th, the Wyoming State Museum has a cybersecurity awareness class for seniors from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Then on Wednesday, May 7th, the library is hosting chair yoga and poetry from 11 to 11:40 a.m., and the event center at Archer is hosting a livestock town hall from 6 to 8 p.m. And lastly, on Thursday, May 8th, Thankful Thursdays begin again at 4 p.m. at the Lincoln Way Event Hall, with this week's nonprofit being Coasts for Kids Wyoming. The week finishes off with the monthly Wyoming State Archive speaker series talking about the High Plains Arboretum at 7 p.m. And before we wrap up here today, I'll bring you a quick recap of some of our top stories and headlines from the past week. In light of Pope Francis's passing, thousands of Catholics in the Cowboy State, whether they find themselves on the traditionalist or progressive side of the aisle, are in the midst of a 9-day period of prayer and mourning. Roughly 75 parishioners of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Cheyenne gathered early Tuesday morning at St. Mary's Cathedral to mourn Francis during a Mass for the Dead. Workplace advocates rallied Monday for Wyoming state and federal lawmakers to end the state's right-to-work policies and shift to a pro-union state during a Workers' Memorial Day event at the Capitol. For the past 20 years, Wyoming has consistently placed among the top 5 states in the nation for highest workplace fatality rates, according to the Wyoming American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations. And finally, although many details remain unknown at this point, members of the public got their chance to weigh in on a proposed pedestrian bridge over Interstate 25 to connect to Frontier Park and a new parking lot proposed on the F.E. Warren Air Force Base. The public meeting was held last Thursday night, and those who attended learned that details like the cost, funding sources, and timeline are still unknown. That's all for this week's episode of The Perch. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to check back in next Friday for more.